Life can feel hopeless nowadays. It's easy to get caught up thinking about the troubles we face and the obstacles we'll need to overcome. But I offer you a chance for perspective. Perspective that things aren't so bad. Perspective that shows us how lucky we are. Perspective that in the face of oblivion, things will not end, they'll only be different. Let me tell you about the worst thing to ever happen to Earth in the history of our planet, the Permian extinction, otherwise known as the Great Dying. The time is 250 million years ago. The place is Siberia in the supercontinent Pangaea. There is silence and then flash. A giant chasm has opened, miles wide, but instead of darkness inside the pit, there is a bright orange glow. The super eruption of the Siberian trapped supervolcano has started. The eruption would be millions of times more powerful than our largest atomic weapons. Anything too close would be liquefied by the shock wave. A bit further, and anything that can burn, trees, fur, skin, is burning, and will continue to burn. Rocks are blasted into space and dark clouds of poisonous gas rise from the tear in our Earth. The disaster starts with lava, enough to cover the entire continental United States. Anything within the lava's path is slowly consumed by the fiery rock. But what happens next is worldwide. Those volcanic rocks that were blasted into space weren't shot hard enough to stay in space. They start raining down everywhere on the planet, even on the other side. Thousands of meteors destroying everything they hit. But that's only the beginning. The true killers finally reveal themselves. Sulfur gas is belched out of the earth, mixing with rain, forming powerful sulfuric acid. This acid rain kills plants and animals alike. At the same time, soot and ash fill the atmosphere, blocking out light, starving the plants who need it for photosynthesis. Plants everywhere across the world die out, starved of the sunlight they need, and eaten by acid rain. But the Earth doesn't cool like normal because the volcano has also released methane and CO2. These greenhouse gases warm the planet to apocalyptic levels. Scientists tell us that if the world warms by 4 degrees Celsius, humans could go extinct. After the Great Eruption, the world warmed by 11 degrees Celsius. Fish breathe air dissolved in water, but only cold water holds air well. The warmer the water, the less air it can hold, and the oceans became a furnace. Oxygen left the water, slowly suffocating almost everything that lived in it. Bacteria that only occur in water without air started reproducing, creating toxic hydrogen sulfide, an extremely poisonous gas that killed anything in the water that hadn't already suffocated. The poison gas started seeping out of the ocean everywhere, and any animals near the ocean that breathed it in were poisoned and slowly died. The oxygen in the planet plummeted, as most of the organisms that were making it had been killed. Anything living high up in the mountains felt the air get thinner and thinner every year until they suffocated. Anything living too close to the ocean slowly inhaled more and more of the poisonous gas, eventually stopping their breathing and killing them. Almost everything in the ocean had died, besides a few master survivalists. The only animal survivors were scavengers who lived far from the ocean but at low elevation, living off the decaying remains of plants and animals and barely surviving. Before this, the oceans were even more full of life than they are today. After the Great Dying, 96% of everything that lived in the ocean was dead. 70% of all life on land was dead. 93% of all life on Earth was dead. Out of every 20 things that lived on Earth before, 19 were gone. The planet was empty, and all life beyond bacteria was nearly wiped out. The eruptions in Siberia would last for the next 500,000 years, over twice as long as our species has been on this planet. It would be the worst mass extinction the Earth had ever seen. For the next 10 million years, life slowly recovered. The temperature slowly declined, ash steadily left the atmosphere, plants gradually returned, bringing oxygen back to the ecosystem, and we mammals and our cousins the reptiles inherited the Earth, now gone of everything else that had competed with us. The Earth had changed forever, and in doing so had allowed for the age of the dinosaurs to begin, and after that, the age of the mammals. In the midst of destruction, chaos, and oblivion, there is always creation, order, and beginnings. There is nothing new, only different. And while our fate is still in our hands, things are better than we give them credit for being. The remains of those animals who died are still around, in the air, in the soil, in our food, in the water, all surrounding us. Remember them the next time you feel the world crashing down around you. Remember that we still have time. And remember that everything you love, everyone you love, would not be here without that global holocaust of nearly every living being.